Welcome back, everybody. Jake from Ohio State, sitting here at the kitchen table again. Today, we are going to talk about the Spyderco CentoFante 3. This knife came to be in a little bit of a trade, which I always love to do. I'm getting close to where I don't have anything else to trade because now I like almost everything I have. Actually, I like everything I have, and I'm to the point of almost not giving up any of it. But this one did. I got in a trade, and this guy is just super cool to me. I've always been interested in this. The lines, yeah, we'll get into that. They're not the cleanest. However, I think I'm willing to overlook a lot of it because I think there are so many other cool things about it. So, get some specs out of the way. We can talk about the fun stuff. CentoFante 3 goes for about 80 bucks. It's discontinued. But you can still find it on, eBay or secondary or whatever. It's still floating out there. Even in discontinued, I think it's really cool still to talk about these knives. So 80 bucks, some wonderful, wonderful VG10 steel. I always love that steel. I think it works quite well. And it's just a fun steel that resides in that about $80 range. So VG10 Austin, I mentioned it before. I really love it. It holds a great edge. Sharpens easily, whatever, all the things I look for out of it. The handle scale's FRN only. No G10 here. It's not really, to me, a big issue. Look, they don't flex really. They're nice. They're thick pieces, so it's fine. FRN, we do get caught up in the G10 because we've sort of been told that that's what's better. And I'm sure on a composite level it is. However, for function-wise, this works great. As you guys can see, pick up right there, the little Spyderco bug, Spyderco spider that's been embedded in there. That is palladium silver, which I think is what Marty McFly was looking for a while. That guy is just embedded in there. It'll actually, you can feel it, it'll like kind of catch your fingernail. But it's just, I think that's a cool thing. I think it's just an upgrade for, again, and I'll compare it to the Dalka here in a little bit. But it makes it a nice kind of a gentleman's carry or whatever it wants to be, where it takes it from just a daily user to something that looks a little more fancy. So I like it. I think it's a cool touch. You can see some grooves that are cut in there just for a little bit of traction. On the pocket clip side, this is not the standard Spyderco pocket clip that comes with it. You guys are all familiar with that pocket clip. This is the one off of a Tenacious that I had, and I'm going to carry this more, so I took the one off Tenacious, and it fits perfectly fine. So that's an MXG gear clip, and you got to have it. It's super deep carry with this thing on, which is really cool. Slides in and out of the pocket, dress pants, cargos, whatever you got, jeans, works really, really well. So let's get into, we'll open it back up here. Overall length, last few stats, 7.5 inches overall. So that's right at sort of my cutoff where I'm comfortable with the knife. I've got some that are a little smaller, but typically 7.5 to 8.5, that's a good size. And only 2.5 ounces, man, that's where it's at. Only 2.5 ounces for this guy. And in a full-size knife that I can fit right into my hand. You'll grill a pause, no problem. I can even stretch out my fingers a little bit, spread them out. It sits in there nicely. That thumb ramp, that's one thing. It does make it a little, it's a harsh line for me. I typically like, a little bit more. And when they cut the blade out down like that, it kind of makes, this is a nice swoop right here, a nice little roll. And then you get this harsh thumb ramp. And yeah, and again, it's just a personal preference because when I really grip this, I kind of don't care about that thumb ramp in all honesty. It just goes right over top of that. That's where my hand lies. But again, you can hold it and use it like this as they've intended. And the thumb ramp, mini tank track, yes sir, it'll get you that. Because the jimping on that thumb ramp, you can see there, it's nice and aggressive. It's not too crazy, but definitely not rounded off. It works really, really well. But again, for me, several times I've used this. I've had this guy for about a week and carried it almost every day. That's where I tend to hold my hand. Or of course, if I'm just going to cut some packages, it's, kind of laying on its side, which is, I always like that Spyderco thumb hole just for that reason, that I just cut what I need and my thumb fits in there. So size is good, weight is good, ergonomics are cool, not 100% perfect, but I believe this knife looks cool enough that I'm okay with it. This portion of it, the whole handle from here back, certainly fits into your hand nicely. They got a really good curve on the back of it, so that your palm just rides right inside of there. That works great, and for the average grip, I think it works fine. Again, I'll kind of choke up on it and skip over the thumb ramp, but that's okay as well. So what else with this guy? The pocket clip, I already told you to change that out. So the other one was fine. You're well aware of what the standard pocket clip that looks like on here. So this is CentoFante 3, as I mentioned. There is a 4th edition of this, and I'll throw that picture up, which you can kind of see is basically the same handles, but the Wharncliffe style blade. The CentoFante 2 was almost completely different. I'll throw that picture up that I found as well, which is, liner lock with a slide lock and Wharncliffe blade with some serrations. And then there is the original CentoFante, which I kind of had a problem finding an exact picture of, but you do a little Googling and you'll find that yourself as well. So different styles, but to me, this was sort of the most popular one. It seemed like this, and if you like the blade shape of the 4, you would get that. Ooh, goodness, you would get that one as well. But other than that, it's between the 3 and the 4, the handle's the same. And so just a really, really cool knife. So we're gonna go ahead and do some comparisons. Of course, the first one right away certainly is just your Spyderco Delica. So one main difference, obviously you can pick up several blade, the handle materials, that type of stuff. Well, not handle materials, but the handle texturing is a lot different. They are very, very close in size. If I line up the pivots, you can see they're very, very close. Weight-wise, they're close. One thing that sort of gets me on the CentoFante here, if you noticed, it's just a pinned construction. And as I said, you guys are probably, kind of remember, I like to take them apart. I like to clean them. I think that's fun, as well as, there's a bit different in the action on this guy. And, I'm kind of doing the action in comparison at the same time, so you can kind of see both of them absolutely deploy by just a flick, which I find to be great. But because I can dial in this pivot on this one, of course, I can just allow it and it'll drop down by itself. Now over here, go back at comparison. Yes, absolutely. Pin construction, lock back. Oh boy. Let me do it again. On camera is always a little harder. There you go. Pin construction, lock back. I can flick that open, which is a really good credit that you can flick open a lockback knife that always has that tension on the blade. I think that's really, really cool. But to get it to drop is definitely, you gotta, you can kind of get your finger up there where there's a really small, you got a good size sharpening choil and then a very small amount of ricasso. So you can, kind of break it, give it a little shake and then close it. Now, I've got a couple other knives that are pinned, and what I have found is, honestly, I get used to, just sliding my finger back up along the backside and then breaking it that way. So it's still one-handed, and I, just kind of do that, slide my finger right up so I'm not getting near the blade side of it, the sharpened side of it. And then when I break it, I can just close it and do that. And that's fine with me too. Again, just a little difference that, I'm never gonna be able to take this apart to clean it out. I have used some KPL. I got some 10mm KPL that I put in there, and that helped it out. But I've seen some other videos, and it's just gonna be a different, probably construction somewhere along the lines where they were able to flick it shut a lot easier. So maybe their pin wasn't, squished as much, whatever that may be. But overall, still really enjoy this knife. It's a keeper. I appreciate the trade. So we're gonna put these guys back out, another little comparison. Might as well stick with another Spyderco. We'll put up a Delica. You can see, boy, really laying this out. Lengthwise, they're almost the same. You get a little more in the blade here, but everything else looks about the same. Your handle length's almost the same, but everything else looks pretty good. We'll do I always like to do a Rat 1. That's always kind of a good comparison because it's so popular. And you can see it's quite a bit smaller than the Rat 1. What else? The Buck 112 Slim Pro. Because that's in that same kind of range. There's another knife I just talked about where it's pinned construction. I can't take... Whoa, buddy. Whoa. Everybody hold on. We're going for a wild ride. There you go. So a little bit of a shimmy and a shake there. We'll get back to it. The Buck 112, you know, is pin construction as well. It's almost the same class. I really think that it is an EDC, a user, but sort of a little upgraded, you know, kind of a gentleman's carry, modern folder, whatever you want to say. So there. That's where I'm going to end it, man. If you guys are still watching after the whole camera drop, man, God bless you for that one. So, all right, everyone, just have a good day. You know, go out, have some fun, watch some other videos. Let me know. Put some comments if you feel like it. All right, take care.